Hey everyone, you're listening to Abhilash Shukla on Conscious Citizens. At this podcast, I talk about climate change, its impact on mankind, solutions that will define our fate, and technological innovations that can help. The episode begins.
What's happening in Ukraine is really devastating. I believe that the world is moving in the direction of its total destruction. It is a tough statement to make, but I truly believe that. And I believe it for various reasons. Today, Russia is demonstrating that powerful nations can have loopholes and can practically ignore the organizations like UN. United Nations, which is responsible for preventing war and conflicts in the world, seems dramatically incapable. And this Russian-Ukrainian war has raised questions in its own credibility. UN is supposed to be the most powerful intergovernmental organization. And this horrifies me, as how easy it was for Russia to use a backdoor for trapping UN, making it incapable of stopping this war. The powerful nations need these international bodies. They use them with full authority. They do the amendments as per their preferences and get the sanctions approved at the lightning speed. It is so convenient for them, isn't it? But for us as common people, we believe in such organizations, treaties, and regulations. When I assess this situation, I am worried about keeping the faith. I am worried about being motivated. I am worried about myself, my family, and the ones who are yet to see this beautiful planet. There are many ways to see this issue. Many are currently considering the geopolitical one. Others are concerned on the humanitarian ground. And all these things add up to a greater question. Where are we heading? If anyone thinks that this war is not affecting them or does not concern them, then hear me out for another 2 minutes. Perhaps I can change your perspective for the better. Currently it is 8th of March 2022, 10 p.m. while I'm recording this, and over 1.7 million people have fled the conflict, making it the largest refugee crisis in Europe since, World War II. And more than 8,000 people have been killed. And upon reading these numbers, I feel that deep sense of sadness. But I also remember feeling this way when I had grieved over similar losses. It pushed me to recall about the 15 million people in Ethiopia, Kenya, Somalia who were affected by droughts in African region. Just 2 years back, 12 million people were trapped in deadly floods and landslides in India, Nepal and Bangladesh. Due to drought in Central America, 3.5 million people received humanitarian assistance, along with other 2.5 million people experiencing food insecurity. Australia was destroyed by fire in 2020, razing entire communities to the ground, causing thousands of homes to be destroyed and affecting millions of people with hazardous smoke haze. More than 1 billion native animals have been killed, and some species and ecosystems, they will never recover. You may feel that it is all out of context at this precedence of the war movement. But these are horrifying large numbers. These increasing temperatures are also causing people to leave their homes, making poverty even worse and increasing hunger. It's rightful that we are looking at this war and feeling the pain. I just hope that we feel the same about the impacts of climate change. In numbers, I presume the impact of this war can be attributed to the 1/10 of the impact of climate change every year. And please, I no way do mean that lives lost in this war were less important. But rather, I would like to retain the importance, as it could be just a tiny fraction of what we are likely to see in the next few decades. And we all will be affected by it regardless of our geographic location. If the world does not settle down to a global peace agreement, our race against time to reduce emissions will escalate in the years ahead. Russia's actions could lead to a major setback for reaching net zero carbon emissions, which is the key to controlling the climate change. Russia supplies more than a third of Europe's natural gas and 25% of its oil. Now, as the matter is surging, it becomes a threat that the policymakers of these European countries will emphasize again fossil fuel to cover up their shortage of oil and energy. Because that's the only steady and practical plan they would foresee. So, these countries will go back to a stage that will result in a significant increase in greenhouse gas again. And we'll go back to the time from where the recovery will be slower, even slower. And frankly, we can't afford it. Secondly, if the stronger bodies like the UN are compromised, the other climate treaties, governing bodies and organizations can be compromised as well. So the only call possible is that UN acts upon, like right now, and maintain the gravity of its own worthiness. It's their responsibility to mitigate these wars with equitable resolutions. I hope that this war makes the world leaders and policymakers understand that such a reliance on fossil fuel should be ended as soon as possible, so that such events don't impact their economy. If they had adequate access to renewable energy sources, the panic they are experiencing would not have existed right now. And if such things will keep on happening, the impacts of climate will worsen. And it is already evident that the cost and casualties a climate disaster is creating are way bigger than what we have witnessed in the period of coronavirus or even in World War II. It's my humble appeal to everyone to contribute towards ending this war in any way you can, so that both nations can enter into a long-term peace agreement. Your life is about to be affected by this war. And now what matters is what are we going to do about it.
Thanks for listening to this podcast of Conscious Citizens. Be sure to subscribe and follow the show on this app right now to be notified on upcoming episodes. Also, don't forget to rate and review the show because that motivates and brings a smile. Thank you.